Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. The Fourth Wall Music team is so grateful to get a chance to share beautiful and mind-stretching chamber music with you. We are able to do this in large part due to our generous donors. So I want to say thank you to the Morris and Beverly Baker Foundation, the Ontario Arts Council, the Trillium Foundation, and the City of Windsor. In order to find a full list of all of our supporters as well as our fabulous Fourth Wall Music team, please go to our website, www.fourthwallmusic.com. And you can also find our full program of the music that you'll be hearing today, as well as the bios of the fabulous artists that we are presenting. So, birds, symbols of freedom, peace, spirit, wonder, strength, masters of a domain that our physical selves can't ever reach, but that our imaginations can soar to, giving us perspective and reminding us of the vastness of possibilities that are here on Earth as the birds dance on what we can't even see. Birds have been inspiration for countless works of art, poetry, and of course, music. We have all recently experienced that exciting first sound of a robin, hearkening the end of winter and the beginning of spring. And we here in the Windsor-Essex region are so lucky to live in such a special place where thousands of birds migrate each spring. And one of the most important stops for these travelers is right here in Essex County, Hillman Marsh. Fourth Wall Music is honored and grateful to have partnered with the Essex Region Conservation Authority on this program. And I'd like to invite Danielle Stubing to say a few words about the Hillman Marsh.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Danielle Stubing, the Director of Communications and Outreach for Essex Region Conservation, and it's my great pleasure to welcome you to the Fourth Wall Music's concert, the Birdsong Inside Us. I'd like to begin by acknowledging that this concert was performed and recorded at the Capitol Theatre on the traditional territory of the Three Fires Confederacy, comprised of the Ojibwe, the Ottawa, and the Potawatomi peoples. We value the significant historical and contemporary contributions of local and regional First Nations and all of the original peoples of Turtle Island. This concert was also performed earlier at Hillman Marsh Conservation Area. Hillman Marsh is one of 17 publicly accessible conservation areas owned by Essex Region Conservation Authority. Over the past few years, visitation to conservation areas and the nearly 100 kilometers of trail that we manage has surged, truly underscoring that while there is much we can live without, our need for nature is paramount. Hillman Marsh is a 1,000-acre coastal wetland and is designated provincially significant. Wetlands are critically important to protecting against flooding, providing habitat, and in fighting climate change. They're also beautiful. Hillman is an important destination for birders in the spring and for thousands of school children annually. We'd encourage you to visit and to wander down to the shorebird habitat, which is unique in North America. George Santayana, poet, philosopher, and naturalist, said, "The earth has music for those who listen." And as we listen to the beautiful songs of the birds around us, we can be calmed and inspired by nature. Listen for the black-capped chickadee as he sings, "Hey, sweetie," or as some hear it, I guess depending on how hungry you are, as "cheeseburger," or the eastern towhee, whose song encourages you to drink your tea. The songs of nature are truly remarkable. And speaking of remarkable, we're so thankful to the amazing musicians at Fourth Wall Music for bringing their Birdsong and You concert to both Hillman Marsh and the Capitol Theatre. It's been our pleasure to partner with Fourth Wall Music, and we are truly delighted to welcome them back today. And now it's my pleasure to introduce Amy Lay of Fourth Wall Music.
The first piece on our program today was inspired by a work of art by Jules Breton, painted in 1884 with the same title as the piece of music, Song of the Lark. This picture depicts a young girl walking down a country road in the early dawn hours, eyes up to the sky, listening to the birds. Here in Ontario, you might be lucky enough to hear a meadow lark living in the grasslands and pastures south of the Canadian Shield. It has a bright yellow belly and a V right across his neck. This piece has 3 movements. The first titled Song to the Waking Sun, the second, Flight, and the third, a meditational intro to darkness. In between the first and the second movements, you will see me weaving paper in the strings. If you're wondering what's happening, that's to create a special effect that you'll hear in the movement Flight. Enjoy. The next piece on the program is called Le Coucou by the French composer Louis-Claude Dequin. Cuckoos, I have discovered, are not just birds that come out of clocks, but there are actually two species found here in Ontario, the black-billed and the yellow-billed cuckoo. Long-distance migrants that come all the way from South America, where they winter, this bird is hardly ever seen as they're hiding in the dense foliage of the forest. However, their distinct song can be heard in the evening hours. And in this next piece, we'll be traveling all the way back to the 1700s, the Baroque period, to hear how this composer was inspired by the cuckoo in this work that is beautifully arranged for two marimba players. Welcome to Nick Papador and Preston Adams on marimba.
He performed this on October 24th, 1971, at a General Assembly meeting for the United Nations as he was receiving the UN Peace Medal. And he was 94 years old at the time. He hadn't played for a while, and he introduced his piece beautifully by saying, "Birds sing when they are in the sky. They sing peace, peace, peace." And it is a melody that Bach, Beethoven, and all of the greats would have admired and loved. So we're just going to set up for a second for our piece, and I will welcome Lucine Petrosian on solo cello. For the next piece, get ready to be immersed into the mystery world of birds, translated by the contemporary composer John Luther Adams. To perform this piece, Fourth Wall Music is very happy to invite some younger up-and-coming musicians, the University of Windsor New Music Ensemble. And I'm going to invite Nick Popador, faculty of music here at the University of Windsor and one of the most talented and well-versed percussionists of contemporary music that I know, to tell you a bit more about this very interesting piece.
Great, thank you so much for being here tonight, and thank you so much to Amy and Fourth Wall for having me back on the series. I love playing as a part of this group, and especially for having some of the students and alums from the SoCA community to get to take part in this as well. So joining me tonight, we have Alexandra Malash and Ariane MZ on piccolos, and we have Aaron Eichler and Preston Adams, who you heard on the cuckoo, on percussion, along with me on John Luther Adams songbird songs. John Luther Adams is an American composer who spent a lot of his career based in Alaska and did a lot of his composing around large landscapes inspired by where he was living. And more than that, I think he was looking to create performance opportunities that broke apart the ideas of audience and performers by doing spatialized music and music that's not coordinated by a conductor in order to kind of create a type of structured improvisation amongst the musicians. So with songbird songs, you're going to be hearing actual bird transcriptions that the composer made. We did some of these pieces for a Faculty of Sciences mixer at the University of Windsor, and found that the waveforms of the birds recorded here were really quite accurate. There was something else I was going to say, but I kind of lost it. But I think you'll really enjoy this atmosphere. It's almost more like listening to the sounds of nature as it goes. So enjoy these 3 selections from John Luther Adams' songbird songs.
such a cool piece. Huh? And it's not often that you get to see an ocarina, which was that little clay thing they were using on a classical music concert. So, on May 19th, 1924, the cellist Beatrice Harrison performed an extraordinary duet with a cello and a nightingale in her beautiful garden in Surrey, England. And this was in one of BBC's first live outside broadcasts. It was a magical performance and was inspiring to millions of listeners at the time. Tens of thousands of fans sent in letters of appreciation, and repeat broadcasts happened every year until 1942. This unique cello and nightingale duet was far more than just a musician and a bird. It was also the fact that the first broadcast was at a time of great sadness directly after the First World War. And then they broadcast it again at the end of the Second World War. Its springtime melodies symbolized hope for the future. And hope is something so badly needed today in any times of conflict. And to say nothing of the rapidly declining population of many of the birds. So the next two pieces that we'll be performing include Danny Boy, which was the piece of music that Beatrice Harrison performed with the Nightingales, followed by, aptly named, the Nightingale artist, composer Deborah Henson Conant. I'm going to welcome back Lucine Petrosian. including Mozart, Beethoven, Prokofiev, Messiaen, have associated the flute most often with birdsong. And it may very well be true until you've met the piccolo. So to introduce you to this extraordinary instrument and to play a beautiful piece of music called Tweet, I'd like to introduce once again Liesl Depp.
It's not every day that you have 3 piccolos on stage. As you can see, I have an instrument that's about the third of the size of a flute. It's made of wood rather than metal, and it's also known as the shrieking twig or the devil's instrument, partly because it's originally a military band instrument or marching instrument. And since about the 19th century, it has appeared in orchestras, mostly for its strident sound. Today, you're hearing its sweeter side, especially in this next piece called Tweet, which sounds a bit like a social media post, but it's a piece by Daniel Dorff, who composed it inspired by early morning birds.
from ERCA this afternoon came up and said that a birder there had been passing by, and they thought that they were hearing one of these, but it was actually the piccolo piece. So, classical musicians embrace our opportunities to be the voice of composers of the past. However, it is very exciting when we get to play a piece of music that's fresh ink by a living composer, and even more exciting when we get to do a world premiere, which is what we'll be ending our program with today. I want to thank everybody here so much for coming, and we hope that you will participate in our future performances, and we get to see you again. I look forward to meeting you in the lobby. So I'm going to introduce a composer who Fourth Wall Music is very proud to have been able to commission a work from, David Bergeron, a graduate from the University of Windsor. Thank you.
Hello everyone, can you hear me through the mask? Okay, cool. As she mentioned, I'm David Bergeron. Thank you all for coming. So two things. First, thank you. It's a crazy journey since the last time I got off a stage in 2019 to being back on a stage, or I guess 2020, and then back on a stage now is crazy. So a round of applause to everybody being involved in surviving. And then huge thank you to Fourth Wall for making this happen, and then more specifically to Amy and Nick for putting time into playing it and realizing it and putting up with my email chains and all of this stuff. So a little bit about the piece. It's depressing, spoiler alert. So I am into environmentalism, and when I was approached with the theme of birdsong, I sat on it for a while, and then I came up with something that is essentially about extinction. So it's kind of this concept that, you know, the ghosts of birds still fly. It's about ghosts in haunting, but usually in media it's like it's humans or it's a pet, but it's never like, you know, it's never an extinct passenger pigeon roosting on your kitchen table or something like that. So it's the idea that there could be a haunting of extinct creatures. Yeah. Enjoy.
Thank you.